Welcome to Carden Digital's guide on why using templates for WordPress generally sucks. When it comes to building websites on WordPress, templates seem like an easy solution, right? But here's the catch. They can hold your site back from performing at its best. In this video, we'll cover why templates feel quick at first but become a headache later, how templates can make your website look generic and forgettable, the hidden issues like slow speed, messy updates, and SEO problems, why templates often struggle to generate leads, and what a better approach looks like if you want a WordPress website that actually performs. Let's get into it. The template trap: quick to launch, hard to finish. Templates make it easy to get started. You pick a design, swap the text, change a few colors, and suddenly you have a website. The problem is, templates are usually great for the first 20% of the job, then painful for the other 80%. Because once you try to make the site fit your actual business, your services, your pages, your branding, your images, your layout, things start to feel awkward. For example, you find a template that looks perfect for a restaurant, but you're a building company or an accountant. Now you're fighting the design just to make your content fit. Sections feel like they were made for someone else, because they were. Templates are quick to launch, but they often slow you down massively once you try to finish the site properly. Cookie-cutter websites, looking like everyone else. Templates can make your site look polished at first glance, but there's a catch. They're built for everyone, which usually means your website ends up looking like everyone. And this is the part most businesses do not realize until it's too late. Your competitors are shopping in the same place you are. They're using the same WordPress themes, the same demo layouts, the same page builders, and sometimes even the same stock imagery. So you can end up with a website that looks almost identical to a competitor down the road, just with different logos and colors. That's not just a design issue, it's a trust issue, because when a customer is comparing you side by side with another company, a similar looking website makes you feel less established, less unique, and easier to forget. It also makes it harder to show what makes you different. If your homepage layout looks like everyone else's, you're relying purely on text to stand out, and most people do not read that closely. Templates are not always bad, but cookie-cutter websites are. If your website is meant to generate leads, it should feel like it was built around your business, your customers, and your offer, not around what a theme developer guessed might work for any business. The hidden bloat, slower sites, and frustrated visitors. Templates often come packed with features you will never use. Sliders, animations, pop-ups, built-in widgets, page builder extras, fancy effects, and dozens of scripts that load whether you need them or not. That extra weight slows your site down, and speed matters more than most businesses realize. If your site takes too long to load, people leave. Not because they hate your business, but because they are busy and impatient. For example, someone clicks your Google result, the page loads slowly, and they hit back. They do not fill out your contact form, they do not call, they just move on to the next option. Templates can look impressive, but if they make your site sluggish, they can quietly kill conversions. Update roulette: when one change breaks something else. WordPress is constantly evolving, and that's a good thing. Updates help with security, performance, and new features. But templates often rely on lots of moving parts to function properly, and that's where things can become fragile over time. Things like WordPress updates, plugin updates, your theme updates, and suddenly something that used to work perfectly does not. Examples might be that a contact form stops sending, a button disappears on mobile, a layout shifts slightly and breaks the spacing. The frustrating part is it can be hard to tell what caused it, because everything is connected. The more complicated the template setup is, the more likely it is that one small update creates a bigger problem. SEO and inquiries. Looking good isn't the same as performing well. Most templates are built to look good in a demo, not to generate inquiries for a real business. The demo site has perfect images, minimal text, and a layout that looks tidy. Real websites need to explain services clearly, build trust, answer questions, and guide people to take action. If the structure is confusing or the calls to action are buried, visitors don't inquire. Not because your service is wrong, but because the site isn't doing its job. For example, a template might hide the phone number in a menu, push the contact button to the bottom, or split services across sections in a way that looks nice, but doesn't help someone quickly understand what you actually do. A high-performing website is designed around clarity and conversion, not just appearance. Scaling becomes a headache, growing out of the templates. Templates can feel fine when your website is small, but most businesses don't stay small, and your website should be able to grow with you. Over time, you might want to add new service pages, landing pages for campaigns, recruitment pages, quote forms, or integrations with tools you use day to day. This is where templates often become limiting. For example, you want a campaign landing page that looks and flows differently because it needs to be focused and conversion driven. But the template forces everything into the same structure, so you can't build the page the way you want without a workaround. A website should support growth. If you have to fight your template every time you add something new, you'll eventually hit a ceiling. A better approach. Start with the goal, then build the site. So what's the better option? Instead of starting with a template, start with the goal of the website. Ask simple questions like, what do people need to see to trust us? What services bring the best leads? What questions do customers ask before they inquire? What's the easiest route from landing on the site to getting in touch? Then you build the structure and design around those answers. That doesn't mean it has to be overcomplicated, it just means the website is built with purpose, so it feels clear, loads fast, and actually helps generate inquiries. Because a website's job isn't just to exist, it's to work. So, to recap, templates can be quick to launch, but they can slow you down later. They can make your website look generic and harder to remember. They often add extra bloat that can slow load times and reduce inquiries. They can become fragile over time as updates happen. They're not always structured to support SEO and conversions. And finally, they can start to feel restrictive as your business grows. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, if your website looks fine but it's not bringing in inquiries, it might not be your service. It might be the way the website has been put together. If you want help improving your WordPress website or building something that performs better without the usual template limitations, feel free to reach out to Carden Digital. See you in the next one.